What's the adoption rate on the
next one.
It's pretty high option. No, I mean how many we've deployed. It's like, I think it's like 700, 100, 900, 900. Wow. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, 15% of the population. It's pretty cool. All right, good. I'm going to flip the slide ahead, Roberto. Carlo. I bet you I know who's next.
Okay, so my team is the demand management team. I have 7 people on my team: Carl Gillikin, who is not here, Bernard Hilbert, Eric Prosco, Joe Monteleone, who I don't have here either, Anthony Serapica. Oh, hi, Joe.
Hi.
Anthony Serapica, Mary Richard, and Bob Chomsky, who is videotaping. Did I miss anybody? Yeah, okay. So even though the name of our team is demand management, we actually do quite a bit more than demand management. We do a significant amount of project management in the organization. In fact, the vast majority of our time this year was spent strictly on managing projects. In fact, 5 of the 7 people on my team were fully dedicated to managing projects this year. So we did PM work for over 20 internal ITIS projects in various areas. A lot of significant work in the EU operations area. Carl's been working on a lot of their storm room consolidation projects, on the Windsor Center for getting EU into that center and working, their DR projects, and lots of things that involve a lot of coordination with the EU. We've helped out on some radio projects with Fred's work, providing some PM assistance there, and kind of helping with some of the overhead type stuff that his team normally doesn't have the time to deal with. We've done some work on Bob's compliance projects, helping to facilitate some of those. We've done a lot of projects in the workstation environment, Office 2010, workstation software compliance, VDI, SCCM, that was more on the server side. Server and storage environment, Joe's been full-time on Nuage for quite a long time, so we've had a lot of involvement in that. Bob is full-time on the UC project in the communications area. Mary's done a lot of network projects, and actually internal to the team, we've had a lot of internal work that we've been doing that we made projects out of because we're project managers, and we've been running them that way. So part of that internal work was to help develop some enhancements to how we do project management internally and try and make sure that we're doing things really consistently across the board. We've been involved in the PM forums and the PMAT team, which PMO runs, and we've been collaborating a lot with project managers outside of ITIS to try and make sure that we're doing what other people are doing, that we're not special in our projects, and we're making sure that we can accommodate the methodology with some of the specific needs of ITIS projects. So a lot of what we've been doing in the 4th quarter is making sure that we have consistent roles and responsibilities around what a project manager is supposed to do. Making sure that when we need to start new projects and get business cases done, we're doing that all the same way, all the time, and making sure that the way people are reporting on their projects is consistent. So we've been piloting some of that internally with the projects that my team is managing, and we'll be rolling that out in 2013 for pretty much everything that ITIS manages. Another thing we do, obviously, according to our name, is demand management and resource management. I think a lot of you have been involved in some of these efforts. What we try and do every quarter is solicit input on all of the projects that ITIS will need to provide services for, both internal to ITIS and for Info Solutions and non-Info Solutions business projects. And we try and get a list at the beginning of the quarter as to here's what everybody should be working on. Obviously that changes throughout the quarter, and we've been making some enhancements to that process, trying to get it done sooner so we can actually get something published at the beginning of the quarter rather than halfway through the quarter. It takes a lot of time sometimes to get the input from people. And now we're actually getting into soliciting milestones from people, so we have specific interim dates that we're working towards rather than just defining at a high level work on this project at some point throughout the quarter. So you'll see early in January a list of milestones published of things that we're actually going to be trying to commit to and work towards and deliver to people so we can get the point across that ITIS is good at delivering things, that we can commit to the needs dates that you have, and that we can meet our commitments moving forward. We also do kind of day-to-day operational work. I know to some of you, well, probably most of you, 50 tickets doesn't sound like a lot, but we have a lot of non-standard tickets come into our queue. These are things that people really don't know where to go with, and there are a lot of tickets directly from the business dealing with things that are really project work, but there isn't an ISD project defined, and we have to follow up with them and figure out what the priority is, what the funding is, who's responsible for it, and sometimes these things can drag on for a really, really long period of time. So there was extensive amount of time spent on those tickets. And then finally, my team is also responsible for coordinating the budget. This takes up a significant amount of my time in the summer and fall months. So I help facilitate the budget planning cycle for ITIS, making sure that we meet the dates according to the budget planning cycle, and we meet our targets, and we have all the projects defined, and we get